Ball dunks.
Look at Strong running the floor out in front.
Coach, how was practice today? It seemed like everyone was pretty brief today.
Yeah, practice was pretty decent. I mean, we don't get a chance to practice down here hardly ever, so, we can only do so much, with only 2 baskets, but with no shoot around tomorrow, we got an opportunity to shoot and go over some last-minute things, but nothing eventful, to be honest with you. Sarah Williams practiced, so that was good. Yeah.
Do you have an update on all those guys, the ones who were out against Xavier? Blanca and Carol and Gandy as well?
No, no. Blanca, I don't know. The only thing I know is that it's not nearly as bad as the one that kept her out for 10 days or something like that. I forget what it was. So I'm hoping that she's back soon. That's what I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
But not for
The other guys are like day to day,
Do you expect Sarah Williams to be a full go or limited minutes?
Yeah, no, she's full go. Yeah. Yep.
And definitely no Blanca, or you're not sure?
Definitely no Blanca.
What stands out about this Tennessee team in Kim's second season?
Well, it's interesting because I was looking at, and I was kind of surprised that it's only been 1 year that she's there, And when you think about it, a lot has changed in a short period of time. They've been able, but that's what happens in the portal era, right? You can change things pretty quickly. So I think she's kind of put her stamp on that team, and they graduated a lot of guys. They lost a lot of guys this year, and the new guys they've kind of integrated pretty seamlessly. But they still have the same similar approach to the game. A lot of full court pressure, a lot of threes, a lot of offensive rebounding. And they kind of live with, they're okay with taking 35, 43s, because they offensive rebound the ball so well. So I can see why they give a lot of people problems.
When you look back at this game last year, you guys lost in Knoxville, just how did you see the players react to that? Obviously, they went on to keep winning, won the championship, are still winning, but how did you feel like they reacted and responded to that loss?
Well, obviously pretty good. If you think about what you just said, I think they responded really well. Watching that game, there were just so many things that you wish you could take back. Moments in the game, plays in the game that, at the moment didn't seem that big, but ended up impacting the game pretty significantly. And it was a game that we could have won and didn't win, and I think that probably is worse. If you go play and you never had a chance to win, you play lousy. But we played well enough to win that game and didn't, and I think that was probably the most disappointing part. That was hard for the players to get over. But we did.
Do you feel like the guys who were here for that game are still kind of taking that personally, even after kind of everything that came after it?
Well, I know, going into the season, the USC, Notre Dame, and Tennessee were the 3 teams that beat us last year. So I think they were, put an X on them in the calendar, and I'm sure that it had much more, who do we play? We play these guys. We play these 3 guys. So yeah, that probably stands out for them, for sure.
Geno, in addition to circling this one on the calendar for some of your players, what's the value, what's the meaning of this, having a chance to have this rivalry on a pretty annual basis?
Again, kind of like we talked about before the Notre Dame game, these are games that, fans love, players love to play in. They're games that give you an opportunity to compete against somebody that's not in your league, that is an NCAA tournament team, plays a different style from another conference. I mean, you want to do all those things before you get to the NCAA tournament. So, you can say we've seen that. And, in our case, well, we've played 4 Big Ten teams or something like that. And, so, we played some teams from the ACC, SEC now. I think you just want to see a lot of different styles of play, and after the Notre Dame game, I don't think anybody was ready to cancel the rest of the season and say give them the national championship. So, I just hope we continue to play well and keep building on what we're already doing. And again, it's a game kids look forward to. It's an exciting game against a really good team.
Given that you've added LSU and Vandy next year, do you see this rivalry going forward, Tennessee?
It's hard. It's hard to keep every team in the rotation every year. You want to keep changing opponents because, like when I told Shay when she got the job, whenever you want to play, just let us know. And so we haven't played Vanderbilt in forever. LSU we haven't played in forever. So when you get a chance to add teams like that, something has to give, right? How many teams from the same conference can you play? Next year, our conference schedule is really, really, really hard. Our non-conference schedule is really, really hard. I think it may be the hardest that we've had in quite some time. So we'll see. I don't know that there's anything. I think we have them next year, don't we? We have Tennessee here again next year, right? Because there was we went there twice in a row. So after next year, I don't know, depending on where that goes. And now with all these event organizers throwing money, at playing games, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Coach, when we think back to your early success here in UConn, Tennessee was always sort of in the way of you, and they had climbed that mountain before you. Do you think back to those days when you were trying to get up to the top of the mountain?
I know it seems so long ago. When I first got here in 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, for those 10 years, I would say until 1993, 94 maybe, we weren't competing against Tennessee. They were who they were, and they did what they did, and we were competing, trying to win the Big East Championship. And it wasn't until the early 90s that, we felt like we can compete with anybody in the country. And we never played them until 1995. So I think that there were other teams, I think, that were competing against Tennessee to win a national championship. We weren't one of them until we did, and then once we did, then that became obviously what it became. And I don't think there's anything, that I think back of and go, during those 10 years leading up to it, man, I wish we could play Tennessee. We're ready for them. We weren't. We weren't ready for them. But when we played them, we were.
What specifically changed for you guys after your loss to Tennessee? You mentioned that was kind of a jumping off point towards the national championship.
I don't know anything in a big way. I think it was more of there were subtle things that we kind of were like nonchalant about, how good is our off the ball defense, how good is our rebounding, how good is our spacing. Yeah, it's good enough to win most of the time, and I think that game really, especially for Paige, in that the only reason we were playing down there is, Paige always said, I want to play down there in front of a big crowd, and so then you go down there and we don't win, of course you're going to take it, and then you start to look in the mirror and start looking at the film and you start seeing things that if they don't get fixed, this is going to happen again in the NCAA tournament. So yeah, we just became better at the little things. We became more detail-oriented. We became way more engaged in, let's take this film session seriously. Let's take this practice seriously. Let's take this drill because what we're trying to teach is going to be really, really important. And it wasn't it wasn't like, if you don't do that, like they saw what would happen if we continued to do it that way. So, and that's why you play these games. Had we not played that game, we maybe wouldn't have been in a position to address all those things. And that might be the case tomorrow, something might come up tomorrow, 2 or 3 things that we go, If you don't play these games, maybe there's a chance you never find out what those things are.
Anything else?
Wow, that was great. I love it. You guys are so considerate.